Vice City is remembered as a neon-soaked dream, but beneath the palm trees and fast cars lies the story of a man who hasn't been truly human since 1971. While most see Tommy Vercetti as a legendary kingpin, we're looking past the Hawaiian shirt and descending into the psychological abyss of the Harwood Butcher. This is the Tommy Vercetti Iceberg, and by the time we hit the bottom, you'll realize that Tommy didn't just conquer Vice City, he haunted it. And we are going to start off at the very tippity top of the iceberg, Tier 6, with our first entry on board in Tier 6 being the Harwood Butcher.
Tommy! Tommy! I have a little job for you. There is one guy who is bad for business. He knows way too much and it could be snitching us. You need to silence him.
I will silence him.
He will be alone in Harwood. You have to go to Harwood. He will not expect you. He will be in junkyard in his red car.
Whatever you say, Sonny, I will be right back.
In 1971, Tommy Vercetti was sent to the Harwood district to kill one man. He walked into an ambush of 11. Most would have died. Tommy left 11 corpses in that alleyway. This massacre earned him the title the Harwood Butcher and 15 years in a concrete cell. While players see it as a win, it was the moment Tommy ceased being a man and became a weapon. For 15 years, he sat in silence, sharpening a hatred that would eventually consume all of Vice City. And up next, the $2 million deal. The 1986 dockside ambush is the catalyst for the game, but look closer at the trauma. While Victor Vance is gunned down, Tommy loses his only link to his old life, his reputation. Sonny Forelli didn't send Tommy south to build an empire. He sent him to move dirty money in a city designed to kill him. Tommy's reaction to the triple homicide isn't panic, it's cold adaptation. He walks into Ken Rosenberg's office not seeking safety, but seeking a way back into the war. And up next, the 15-year silence. Tommy Vercetti sat in a cell for 5,000 nights and never uttered a single name to the authorities. This wasn't just loyalty, it was a stubborn psychological endurance. He adhered to the mafia code of omerta, while the Forelli family, the very people he was protecting, never once checked on him. This silence turned him into a legend in the underworld, but it also made him a ghost. By the time he hit the streets of Vice City, he was a man frozen in 1971, holding on to a dead sense of honor. And up next, the Forelli Setup. Sonny Forelli called Tommy a bad penny, something that always turns up when you don't want it to. The Vice City mission was never meant to be a success. It was a suicide by proxy. Sonny was terrified of the Butcher's return to Liberty City and hoped the local cartels would finish what the 11 men in Harwood couldn't. This entry highlights the tragic irony. Tommy spent 15 years being loyal to a man who spent 15 years praying for his death. And up next, the Vercetti Name.
Mr. Vercetti, Colonel, thank you for coming.
Unlike most high-profile shooters, Tommy never used an alias. He arrived in Vice City using his real name, Thomas Vercetti. This wasn't an oversight, it was a statement. Tommy refused to hide because he felt he had already paid his debt in blood. By keeping his name, he painted a target on his back for every cop and rival in the state. It's a level of arrogance that borders on a death wish. A man so disconnected from fear that he treats his own identity as a challenge to the world. And up next, the first kill. The murder of Leo Teal in a back alley is the player's first taste of the real Tommy. It isn't a cinematic hit, it's a brutal close-quarters beating. While Ken Rosenberg is sweating and panicking, Tommy is methodical, taking the dead man's phone and continuing the mission without a second thought. This confirms that 15 years in a box didn't rust the Butcher. He is just as cold and efficient as he was in 1971. The Vercetti Empire was officially born on the corpse of a man who was simply an inconvenience. And now, we are moving down a tier, into the 5th tier, with our first entry in the 5th tier being the Vercetti Brand. Tommy didn't just want to be a mobster, he wanted to be a brand. By purchasing high-profile assets like the Malibu Club and Cherry Popper ice cream, he wasn't just laundering money, he was planting his flag in the city's culture. This entry marks the transition from soldier to owner. Every neon sign bearing his name served as a warning to the Forelli family back north. Tommy wasn't coming home. He was building a kingdom where he was the only law. The Vercetti Brand was his way of rewriting a life that was supposed to end in an alleyway. And up next, Ken Rosenberg's debt.
Oh, for God's sake, it's you! Oh, jeez, I'm gonna need new pants!
Ken Rosenberg is often viewed as comic relief, but in Tier 5, we look at the darkness of their bond. Ken didn't help Tommy out of friendship, he did it out of terror. He was a coke-addicted lawyer drowning in debt, and Tommy was his only shield against the sharks of Vice City. This relationship is built on mutual desperation. Tommy uses Ken's legal brilliance and neurotic fear to navigate the city's politics, while Ken clings to Tommy like a life raft. It's a parasitic connection that eventually leads to Ken's tragic downfall in Las Venturas years later. And up next, the Cortez Connection. Colonel Juan Garcia Cortez represents Tommy's entry into high-level international intrigue. Unlike the street thugs in Liberty City, Cortez is a man of elegance and military power. This connection taught Tommy that violence is most effective when paired with class. By doing favors for the colonel, Tommy moved from being a local hitman to a global player. However, this bond also highlights Tommy's isolation. Even among the elite on Cortez's yacht, Tommy remains a shark in a tuxedo, always watching, always calculating, and never truly belonging to that world. And up next, Avery Carrington's wisdom.
Tommy, this is Avery Carrington. I believe you met at the party?
Not in person.
Howdy.
Avery Carrington is the man who taught Tommy the real estate of violence. Avery's philosophy was simple. If you want to own the land, you have to start a war on it. Under Avery's mentorship, Tommy learned that chaos is a ladder. Whether it was inciting a riot or bombing a construction site, every lesson Avery taught was about manipulation. This entry is crucial because it shows Tommy evolving into a strategist. He stopped just pulling the trigger and started choosing which wars to start. Avery provided the blueprint, and Tommy provided the blood. And up next, the printing works. The print works is the only business Tommy treats with genuine personal care. This is likely because it reminds him of his father, who spent his life working in a printing press. While the Malibu Club represents his ego, the print works represents his roots. He goes to extreme lengths to protect the elderly Ernest Kelly, the manager who becomes a surrogate father figure. This is the only place in the game where we see a flicker of Tommy's lost humanity. He isn't just protecting a business, he's protecting a memory of the life he could have had. And up next, the Mansion Takeover. Taking the Vercetti estate from Ricardo Diaz was the ultimate power move. By moving into the literal throne of the man he killed, Tommy officially replaced the old guard. However, this entry is about the curse of the mansion. The estate is a maze of security cameras and cold marble, a fortress that isolates the king from his subjects. When Tommy sat in Diaz's chair, he inherited more than just a house. He inherited the paranoia. The Mansion Takeover signifies the moment Tommy won the war, but lost his ability to ever truly walk the streets in peace. And now, we are moving down a tier, into the 4th tier, with our first entry in the 4th tier being the Forelli Vacuum. Tommy's 15 years in prison left a hole in Liberty City that Sonny Forelli couldn't fill. This entry isn't about Tommy, it's about the fear he left behind. Sonny's obsession with sending Tommy to Vice City was a desperate move to get a ghost out of his territory. Sonny didn't want money, He wanted the butcher gone before he could reclaim his seat. Tommy was a weapon so dangerous that his own family was willing to burn down their southern operations just to keep him from coming home. And up next, Mercedes Cortez's rebellion.
Meanwhile, let me introduce you to my daughter. Mercedes!
Mercedes isn't a love interest. She's a tool. As the daughter of a colonel, she lives in a world of rules she hates, and Tommy represents the chaos she craves. This entry explores the cold reality of their bond. Tommy doesn't care about her. He cares about the doors her name opens. They are two predators using each other. Mercedes to spite her father, and Tommy to infiltrate high society. It's a relationship built on mutual exploitation, proving that in Vice City, even romance is just another tactical play. And up next, the coke economy. Tommy builds his empire on a drug he never touches. While the city around him collapses under the weight of the powder he imports, Tommy remains completely sober and detached. This entry looks at the invisible victims. Every luxury car Tommy buys is funded by the addiction and death of the citizens of Vice City. He isn't a cool protagonist here. He's a corporate drug lord who views human suffering as a line item on a spreadsheet. He is the architect of the city's decay. And up next, Diaz's psychological collapse. Ricardo Diaz didn't just lose a gunfight, he lost his mind. Tommy didn't kill him immediately. He infiltrated his inner circle and watched him rot from the inside.
What kind of incompetent fool are you? Fool! 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 Fool!
This entry focuses on the psychological warfare Tommy used to dismantle Diaz's security and sanity. By the time Tommy pulled the trigger, Diaz was a paranoid wreck, screaming at shadows. It shows Tommy isn't just a hitman, he's a predator who enjoys watching his prey realize they've already been caught before the first shot is fired. And up next, the phantom phone calls. The constant ringing of Tommy's cell phone is the sound of his leash being pulled. Whether it's Sonny demanding cash or Ken panicking, the phone represents the fact that Tommy is never truly his own man. This entry looks at the audio horror of the game. Even when he owns the biggest mansion in the city, the phone keeps him tethered to his past. It's a psychological haunting, a digital reminder that no matter how much blood he spills, he is still a servant to the debt he owes. And up next, the Candy Suxxx manipulation. In the film studio missions, Tommy isn't an entertainer, he's a pimp. He uses Candy Suxxx as a weapon to blackmail high-ranking politicians like Alex Shrub. This is where the honorable mobster myth dies. Tommy doesn't just use guns to get his way anymore. He uses cameras, scandals, and the destruction of reputations. It marks his transition into a modern criminal who understands that information is more lethal than lead. He didn't just win the war, he corrupted the very soul of the city's leadership. And now we are moving down a tier, into the third tier, with our first entry in the third tier being the concrete shoes. If you dive into the waters near Leaf Links, you'll find them. NPCs with their feet encased in concrete, standing upright at the bottom of the ocean. This isn't just a mafia trope Easter egg. In the context of Tommy's rise, these are the people who said no. While the game is filled with colorful characters, the seafloor is filled with the silent reality of Tommy's business model. It serves as a reminder that for every business Tommy acquired, someone likely ended up at the bottom of the bay, staring up at a city they'll never see again. And up next, the Apartment 3C Massacre. In a small, unassuming apartment in Ocean Beach, there is a bathroom drenched in blood with a single chainsaw resting against the wall. This is a direct nod to Scarface, but within the Vercetti lore, it represents the sheer, uncurbed brutality of the city Tommy chose to rule. It's a crime scene with no body, only the aftermath of a slaughter. It suggests that while Tommy walks the streets in expensive suits, the actual work of his empire is being done in cramped, bloody bathrooms by men who have completely lost their souls. And up next, the Psychopath Theory. Many theorists argue that Tommy Vercetti is the only true psychopath in the series. Unlike CJ or Nico, Tommy never expresses regret, never mourns a loss, and never seeks redemption. His pulse doesn't rise when he's surrounded by gunmen. This theory suggests that the 15 years in Harwood didn't break him. It simply removed his ability to feel anything at all. He doesn't kill out of anger or necessity. He kills because people are merely obstacles in his path. To Tommy, a human life has the same value as a spent bullet casing. And up next, the ghost of Victor Vance. Victor Vance was the good criminal, a man trying to save his family who died in the opening minutes of the game. Tommy's entire empire is built on the ashes of Victor's life. This entry looks at the haunting shadow Victor leaves behind. Tommy takes Victor's business, his connections, and eventually his city, but he does it without the moral compass Victor had. Tommy is the dark evolution of the Vice City protagonist. He is what happens when you remove the heart and leave only the hunger for power. And up next, the Sunken Marquis. Off the coast, there are shipwrecks that suggest the waters of Vice City are a graveyard for those who tried to flee. This entry explores the idea that there is no escape from the Vercetti influence. Whether you're a snitch or a rival, the ocean is the only exit. The shipwrecks symbolize the failed dreams of everyone who thought they could play the game and win. In Tommy's world, the deep water isn't just a tear on an iceberg. It's a final resting place for anyone who dared to stand in his way. And up next, the Butcher's Remorse.
Mr. Vercetti? Hey, you bought the old print works?
Yeah, my old man used to work on these. I used to spend the evenings with him cleaning the rollers.
There is a rare piece of dialogue where Tommy mentions his father working in a print shop, his hands always stained with ink. This is the closest we ever get to remorse. He didn't want the ink, he wanted the blood. This entry suggests that Tommy's greatest tragedy isn't his prison time, but the fact that he consciously chose the life of a butcher over the honest life of his father. He is haunted not by the people he killed, but by the ghost of the man he was supposed to become. And now, we are moving down a tier into the second tier, with our first entry in the second tier being the Ocean View Purgatory. The Ocean View Hotel is where it all begins, and for many players, where the save file ends. This theory suggests that Tommy never truly left that hotel room. The repetitive nature of the city, the same NPCs walking the same loops, the same sun rising and setting, is actually Tommy's personal purgatory. He is a man trapped in 1986, forced to relive his rise to power over and over again. Every time you start a new game, the Butcher is reborn into a cycle of violence he can never truly escape, even in death. And up next, the missing 15 years. We know Tommy was in prison, but we never see the scars. This entry explores the blank space in his psyche. 15 years of solitary confinement in the 70s and 80s would have broken any man's mind. The theory suggests that the Tommy we play as isn't a person at all, but a fragmented personality created to survive the Harwood Massacre. The Butcher took over in that alleyway in 1971 and never let the real Tommy back into the driver's seat. You aren't playing as a man, you're playing as a coping mechanism. And up next, the Vercetti Curse. Everyone Tommy touches eventually rots. Ken Rosenberg becomes a paranoid addict. Lance Vance becomes a traitor. Victor Vance ends up a corpse. This entry looks at the dark aura surrounding Tommy. He is a black hole that consumes everyone in his orbit. He doesn't build a family, he builds a graveyard. The curse suggests that Tommy's success is fueled by the literal life force of those around him. He is the last man standing, not because he is the strongest, but because he is the only one the darkness won't take. And up next, the Sunken City Theory. Vice City is geographically impossible, a series of islands held together by nothing but sand and sin. Some theorists believe the city itself is a hallucination of a dying man. As Tommy lies bleeding in that Harwood alley in 1971, his mind constructs a tropical paradise where he is the king. This explains the 80s dream aesthetic. The neon is too bright, the music is too perfect, and the violence is too cinematic. Vice City isn't a location. It's the final, flickering dream of a dying hitman. And up next, the Butcher's voice. Ray Liotta's performance is iconic, but as the game progresses, the tone shifts. Tommy's voice becomes increasingly detached, almost bored with the carnage. This entry focuses on the emotional flatlining. By the end of the game, Tommy doesn't even sound human. He has talked himself into a corner where words no longer have meaning, only power does. He has reached a state of total apathy, where winning the war feels exactly the same as losing it. He is a king who has forgotten why he wanted a crown. And up next, the final save. When the credits roll and you're left standing in the Vercetti estate, there is a crushing silence. There are no more enemies to kill, no more businesses to buy. This entry explores the post-game horror. Tommy is left alone in a massive, empty mansion, surrounded by guards he doesn't trust, and friends he has already exploited. The final save is the realization that Tommy's win is actually the ultimate loss. He is the richest man in a city of ghosts. We move on to the deepest tier on the iceberg, Tier 1, with our first entry in Tier 1 being the 1971 Harwood Loop. This theory suggests that Tommy never actually killed those 11 men in Harwood. Instead, he was the only one who died. Everything we see in Vice City, the pastel suits, the fast cars, the limitless power, is a flickering death dream, occurring in the milliseconds before Tommy's brain shuts down in that Liberty City alleyway. The reason he never ages, never swims, and never truly fails is because he is a ghost reliving a fantasy of what could have been. He isn't a king, he's a corpse dreaming of a crown. And up next, the Eternal Butcher. There is a disturbing psychological reading that Tommy Vercetti died in prison, and the Butcher is a separate entity that took over his body. This entry looks at the human shell theory. When you look at Tommy's idle animations, the cold, 1,000-yard stare, it's the look of a house with no one home. The Butcher is an apex predator that mimics human speech and behavior just enough to navigate the underworld. He doesn't love, he doesn't hate, he simply consumes. Tommy Vercetti is just the name of the mask the monster wears. And up next, the eternal sentence.
You took 15 years from me, Sonny, and now I'm gonna make you pay!
You still don't get it, do you? I own you, Tommy! Those 15 years were mine to spend.
Sonny Forelli didn't just send Tommy to Vice City, he sent him to a prison with no walls. This theory suggests that the freedom Tommy found in the South is actually a more cruel form of solitary confinement. He owns the buildings, but he can't leave the city limits. He has millions of dollars, but nothing to spend it on that brings him joy. He is a prisoner of his own success, locked in a tropical cell where the guards are his own paranoia and the iron bars are made of gold. And up next, the static soul. In the final cutscene, Tommy says, "I think this could be the beginning of a beautiful business relationship." It's a line delivered with zero emotion. This entry explores the emotional death of the protagonist. By the time the game ends, Tommy has no soul left to give. He has killed his father figures, his friends, and his past. He is a static entity, a man who has achieved everything and realized that everything feels exactly like nothing. He is the literal personification of the 80s, bright, loud, and completely empty inside. And up next, the final echo. Some fans believe that the reason we never see Tommy in the HD universe, GTA 4 and 5, is because he eventually erased himself, not through suicide, but through total isolation. After the events of 1980, Tommy retreated so far into his mansion and his paranoia that he became a myth, a phantom king that the city eventually forgot. This entry posits that Tommy is still alive in the 2020s, a 100-year-old butcher sitting in a decaying mansion, surrounded by the rotting remains of an empire that everyone else has moved on from. And now, on to the deepest and darkest part of the iceberg, with the final entry being the player's guilt. The final darkest entry isn't about Tommy, it's about you. We spent 30 hours helping a psychopath destroy a city for our own entertainment. We enjoyed the butcher's work. This theory suggests that Tommy Vercetti is a mirror held up to the player. He is a monster because we wanted him to be. He didn't have a choice to be a good man because we wouldn't have played that game. In the end, the darkest part of the Vice City iceberg isn't the concrete shoes or the massacres. It's the fact that we were the ones who pulled the trigger. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Until next time, thanks for watching.